Welcome to The Explainer. So, you've probably wondered this yourself. When an AI like ChatGPT says it's thinking, what is actually going on in there? Today, we're going to break down the fascinating science of how these models really truly reason. You know, when you see that little blinking cursor and the words start typing out, it really feels like there's a thought process happening. But what does that actually mean for a machine? This question gets right to the heart of what makes modern AI so incredibly powerful and, frankly, a little mysterious. All right, so to really wrap our heads around this, we first have to draw a line in the sand between two different things: just answering a question and the much, much deeper process of reasoning. They might sound the same, but trust me, they're worlds apart. And you know, this quote here from OpenAI's Jerry Torek, it just absolutely nails it. Reasoning isn't about having an answer already stored away somewhere. Nope, it's the journey. It's the actual work that's required to figure something out from scratch. Here's a way to think about it. Answering, that's just pulling a fact out of your memory. It's like someone asking you your name. Boom, instant recall. But reasoning? Now that's a whole different ballgame. It's like being handed a really tough puzzle. You don't already have the answer tucked away. You have to actually work for it, perform a search, and dedicate real time and computation to find that solution. Okay, so if reasoning is this active search for an answer, how in the world does an AI actually show its work? How do we get a peek at its, inner monologue as it's figuring things out? Well, it uses this incredible technique called chain of thought. And it's pretty much exactly what it sounds like. This is the AI literally thinking out loud. It's using all that human language it learned from its training to walk itself through a problem, one logical step at a time. This right here is a perfect example of chain of thought in action. You see, a user gives it a complex math problem, and at first, look at step 2. The model tries to just spit out the answer in one go, and it fails. But then, and this is the magic part, in step 3, the user just adds this simple little phrase, "Let's solve it step by step." And just like that, it unlocks a totally new capability. The AI is forced to break the problem down, show its work, and it gets to the right answer. And I'm not kidding, this simple phrase, "Let's solve it step by step," this was a huge, huge discovery for researchers. It was like they found this magic key that could suddenly unlock the hidden reasoning abilities just sitting inside these large language models. Okay, but that begs the question, right? How does an AI even learn to reason like this in the first place? This isn't something that just happens by accident. It has to be trained deliberately. So the main technique here is called reinforcement learning, or RL for short. And the core idea behind it is, well, it's surprisingly simple. It's actually a lot like how you'd train a dog. I love this analogy. Just like a dog gets a treat for obeying a command, an AI gets a digital reward, a thumbs up, from a human trainer when it gives a good, helpful response. And on the flip side, just like you wouldn't reward a dog for chewing the furniture, bad or unhelpful AI responses get discouraged. It's all about systematically reinforcing the right outcomes, thousands and thousands of times. This specific process, which they call reinforcement learning from human feedback, or RLHF, was an absolute game changer. Here's the breakdown. The AI spits out a few different answers to a prompt. Then, a human comes in and ranks them from best to worst. All that feedback gets fed into a separate reward model. And then, the original AI gets fine-tuned using that reward model, basically teaching it to chase the good answers that humans prefer. And this training method, wow, it has fueled an absolutely explosive evolution in AI reasoning. And the crazy part? This has all happened in the span of just about 1 year. So, if you look at OpenAI's timeline for these models, you can see just how fast this is all moving. They started with a model called O1. It was pretty good at solving puzzles, but it was really more of a tech demo. The real breakthrough, the tectonic shift we'll talk about, came with O3. That was a massive leap, and that was then refined even further into what would become GPT-5. Right, and this is the crucial part. The leap from O1 to O3 wasn't just a small iterative improvement. The OpenAI team themselves called it a tectonic shift. And that's because this was the moment these reasoning models went from being, interesting toys to being genuinely useful tools for a whole bunch of real-world tasks. So when you see progress moving this fast, it leads to a pretty obvious question, doesn't it? If models can reason this well now, what on earth is the next frontier? Well, the future seems to be pointing in one direction, something called agentic AI. This is where AI stops being just a tool for answering your one-off questions and transforms into an autonomous agent. An agent that can tackle complex, long-term tasks all on its own. Think of it less like a calculator and more like a tireless digital assistant. And we're not just talking about answering a prompt in a few seconds. We're talking about an AI that could work on a problem for 30 minutes or maybe even 2 hours straight. An AI that could tackle an entire coding project for you or plan and book your next vacation from start to finish or even help automate complex scientific research, all while you're off doing something else. It's a pretty wild thought. And all of this progress, all this talk of agents, it leads us to the ultimate question in AI, the one everyone is thinking about. At what point does a model that can reason and act on its own learn enough to start improving itself without any human help? And that, right there, is the question that takes us from the powerful tools we have today into the truly unknown territory of tomorrow.